This is the story of a beautiful place, known as the happiest place on Earth, and all of its history, its secrets, and its tricks that you may find if your mind believes in design, and you allow your heart to believe in magic. Step inside and become a citizen of Disneyland. Tony Mendez, welcome back to Disneyland for Designers. How are you, sir?
Very good. How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing well. The last couple of weeks, as we brought the podcast back, we've talked about, the most unfun stuff possible. A CEO that a lot of people said, how could the community ever turn on him? We were never there for him. And I say, you got to give everybody a chance. You can't write off anybody out of the gate. And then last week we talked about the Magic Keys and their script for either, really, really like a huge mistake or really, really great marketing. I don't know if we'll ever know because we don't know what happens inside the boardroom on those whiteboards and what ultimately the goal of the Magic Key was. But it was a fun conversation I won't say it was a fun conversation to have, but I think it was a needed conversation to sort of, look at it from a couple of different perspectives. And I think a lot of people are looking at it and just kind of get it all out there. But now that I feel like we've done our homework the last 2 weeks, we can have a little bit of Disneyland fun this week.
Yeah, I think, we did really go deep into all this stuff that's been kind of in the forefront of the park situation. And I feel like, a little bit of the fun got lost in that. So I think it'll be good to get back as we go into the holiday season here. We definitely we have to have more of that enjoyment, that fun, and the reason why we enjoy going to the parks, so prominently in the conversation. So
absolutely. But I'll say this, Tony, and hopefully I think you understand where I'm coming from. Is the reason why I don't hold back on, like last week I covered the 6-month reopening of the park. So we looked at the tickets, we looked at the video I did Forgotten Disneyland, which talked about a lot of things that hadn't reopened. And my whole vibe is this: don't ever confuse me. I love going to the park. I enjoy being there, but I just don't ever want to be a corporate shill, right? I don't ever want to be that person where well, of course he's going to love the new chicken sandwich. Of course the new ice cream flavor is the best ice cream flavor ever. I always want to try to create that balance of, don't get me wrong, I love this place, but I also love studying it as a business. And when you look at things, studying it from a business, it almost gets into sports radio where, it's still your team. You still love your team at the end of the week, but you want to criticize, why is that what they did Sunday night when they were playing the Tennessee Titans? Way to go, Rams. So I always like to do that. Before we get into our holiday special, though, I'm going to bring this up. One of my favorite passions as far as Disney content goes is I love the website Mice Chat. And Mice Chat put up a survey that I'm desperately trying to scroll to here real quick, because I thought we could just read it real quick before we get into our holiday fun and just kind of overall look at, what the Disney community is feeling right now. And man, oh man, are these posts that they do insanely long. Maybe I won't ever be able to find it. Maybe I'll just be here scrolling for the rest of my life, Tony.
Wow, it sounds like a pretty sick survey. I mean, if it's that hard to find, I think they usually want people to find those and fill them out. But
they do their weekly update, and they put so many amazing images of what's going on at the resort. And they also posted their survey in there. And as you know, I've been doing a lot of different things today, and now I'm getting an ad. Oh man, it's impossible to look at a website these days. There are so many ads on top of ads. It's getting difficult. Oh well, strike this from the record because I can't. Here we go. It's the second article down. I just wanted to read these real quick. One of their questions was, if you're a Magic Key holder, are you currently, as of November 2021, satisfied with your Magic Key purchase and your ability to access Disneyland theme parks with your Magic Key? Now, most people are always going to say that they're unsatisfied when it comes to this whole thing. but it was a lot of people. They had 57% of their survey of people said that they are unsatisfied. So, I mean, that's over half. I mean, that's a pretty big number. 13% of the people were satisfied and 28% were neutral. I would always like to talk to the 28% of people that are neutral.
Yeah, I don't know how you could have a neutral opinion on this. Like, it's going to be one or the other. I don't know. You're like, you know what? Nah, like I don't have an opinion either way. There's nothing I have to say regarding this current situation. So thank you, but no thank you. I have nothing further to say.
A second question that garnered 413 votes. So 400, we're talking hardcore Disney people that go over to this website weekly.
Right.
If you're a Disney Magic Key holder, given the costs and issues with the reservation system, would you currently recommend buying a Magic Key to other Disney fans, friends, or family? On this one, 20% of people aren't sure. 7% said they would recommend it. 72% of people said they would not recommend buying this. Like they would just, hey, whatever you do, don't spend money on this. Now, maybe they're good friends and they're trying to protect their friends from buying something that they don't need or they don't think is efficient. Or maybe they're trying to hog the reservations for themselves.
Yeah, at this point, those reservations are tight, man. You got to do everything you can to make sure you get your spot.
Yeah.
Forget about your friends. Get your reservations in. Get in the parks. They can fend for themselves.
Survival of the fittest at Disneyland in 2021. And then the final question on this survey was if you're an unsatisfied Magic Key holder and could cancel your membership and get a full refund now, would you? And 48% of the people said that they would get a refund right now. That one surprised me the most. And I think overall, one of the things that we got on the last 2 weeks is people lecturing like, well, if you want the company to change, stop spending money with them. And, I think we all protest in our own ways. I personally really do not put any money into the mobile food ordering. I don't like it. I'd rather stand in the line just to do it. Last Monday, I was at the park with Dylan from Theme Park Obsession, and we were just like, no, let's not mobile order. We don't want to be bullied on when we can get our food. Let's go ahead and stand in line old fashioned because we're here hanging out as buds, and let's talk while we're waiting in line. And I did not buy a Magic Key for my wife. We just looked at the prices and the reservation system. Like, you know what? We'll just buy her a ticket whenever she wants to go. She's not hardcore. She doesn't need to go all the time. It's not something that she's like obsessed with. She just moderately loves. And I'm not buying Genie Plus. I don't see it being efficient. So, you can protest with inside the system, I guess I wanted to say.
Yeah, you can a la carte, the things that you don't need, or it works the other way, right? I mean, I guess it really does. Like you're in the system right now because you've got a Magic Key. I've got a Magic Key. I'll be using it for the first time this coming Wednesday. So I haven't even fired that baby up yet. And I can tell you right now, Mark, I am already neutral. No opinion.
That magnetic strip of justice is going to swipe. Oh, wait a minute. It's digital, so never mind. Let's strike that from the record. So one of the reasons why Tony is finally unlocking his Magic Key, he is coming here from Chicago to go to the first Merriest Nites that will be happening this Thursday on November 11th. Something I didn't even think about, Tony. Mm-hmm. Merriest Nites was announced on a Friday. They dropped the tickets on a Monday morning. They literally gave the event not even a week's full of, hey, are you going? Are you doing this? Like it was the most last minute ticket drop ever. It basically felt like, an NFT was going up and you had to scramble to go try to get it, or a rare pair of Jordans. But when I bought the tickets and then I looked at everything, I think where Disney missed a huge marketing opportunity. And do they love huge marketing opportunities? Merriest Nites, the November 11th date that you and I have tickets to, it's an advance preview to Disneyland Christmas. Like Christmas, the holidays officially start Friday the 12th. If you bought a ticket for Thursday the 11th, you're getting an advance on Disneyland Christmas with a limited capacity. Now, granted, a couple of the lands are closed, but as far as like the Christmas vibes, I can't believe they missed the opportunity of packaging that first night as a advance to the holidays.
That's a really good point. Do you recall? See, I don't even remember at this point, but the first one that we're going to, was that one a little bit more expensive than the later ones? I can't recall.
I bought all 5 nights so that I could cover it for the channel. And I'm covering 4 nights. One night I'm going to shoot a vlog because, yes, Beth will be returning for a holiday date night. But I can't remember when the prices spiked or when they went back down, but I really feel like that was a missed marketing opportunity. But I think before we get into being excited, let's just get more bad news out of the way. I think a lot of people are worried that these 5 nights are a test run for, can we make more money off of Christmas at Disneyland, which is already an insanely popular time at the park. So I think a lot of people's apprehension to buying these tickets was, one, they did a horrible job explaining what was happening. Like the descriptions were subpar at best.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. That's actually something I hadn't even considered. Is Christmas is a really big deal, and I could absolutely see them doing a test run and saying, okay, based on the popularity of this event, yeah, we can charge way more money for this, or we can pare down on what's being offered, or
yes,
the parades, the events, fireworks, or we could offer these things piecemeal, and pretty soon you might have to pay a la carte for this aspect of it or for this. So yeah, it's something I hope isn't in the cards, and I hope is just speculation at this point, but yeah, a very good talking point, especially just the way things have been going. Who knows? Yeah, I would not discount that at all.
Yeah, I think a lot of fans were worried that this 5 nights is a test run. And, when you look at the Halloween offerings and then you look at Oogie Boogie, it definitely is worth the upcharge because they give you so much Halloween on that night. I think a lot of people would be worried that if a lot of the Christmas festivities rolled behind a paywall, that would be, ruin a lot of family traditions and all that stuff. I honestly would hope that that's not what it's playing. It's not going that way. If it did go that way, though, my only staying positive for the sake of staying positive, even though it would be a bad mistake if they did that. When you look at Oogie Boogie and what you get for your money, it is a great value. To be determined if Merriest Nites is worth the value. And when I did my Is It Worth It video, I just said right out of the beginning, I don't know. They've been very coy with what's exactly happening. And my ultimate breakdown of Merriest Nites is that not knowing what they offer out of the gate, the biggest attraction for it I could see is it's for people that have more money than time. So if you really want to take the kids or the family or go on a date night or go by yourself to Disneyland Christmas, but you don't want to be submerged in the dense crowds and wait forever to do things like Mansion and Small World, this is essentially a lightning lane night. That's my early intuition on it. We'll see. Next week, we'll be able to review it when we do the podcast because we'll both been there and we'll both be able to talk it out and say, is it worth it? Who should go? And also give some strategies on what time to show up. By the time we record this podcast next week, I may have already been to 2 of these, depending on when we record. Oh, there's too much happening, Tony. There's too much happening. All right. This is what Tony and I have for you today. Did you do your homework?
I did my homework. This was actually a really fun assignment, and it really took some time to put together, actually. So
right now, Tony and I are going to give you our top 10-ish Christmas gifts that we're looking forward to at the Disneyland Resort. I asked Tony, I said, make a list of 5 things that you're looking forward to doing during the holidays at Disneyland. I'll do 5. We won't share these. So it could be a list of 5 or it could be a list of 10. Who knows? It's our 10-ish things we're looking forward to at Disney Christmas as we officially begin our countdown to Christmas. Tony, you're the guest here when you come to town on this Thursday, visiting from the great state of Illinois. I just lied. It's not great. Go ahead what is your number 5 on your item? And then I will counter with my 5.
Okay, I like that plan, especially because I'm not a local. I'm flying out for this for specifically for Christmas Disneyland. But my number 5, I thought I'd keep it simple. And this is just something that anytime I do Christmas Disneyland, I have to fit it in somehow. And it's got to be the Mickey peppermint beignets. Like, if you go there and you don't have that in your rotation at some point, I feel like you're truly missing out on that Christmas spirit. And Christmas spirit is only good if you could ingest it and have it in your stomach, and just extra powdered sugar to go along with it. So that's my number 5, Mark. I don't know how you feel about it, but that's something that I absolutely have to have while I go.
Number 5 on my list. So we're already down to 9 on our item. Number 5 on my list was treats, specifically the peppermint beignet. Phenomenal treat, Mickey shaped. So it already has that nostalgia in there of our good bud Mickey, but then covered with that pink candy cane, or no, it's peppermint, powdered sugar. So good. So good. Sack of 6 for me and the kid. And then I also put treats on the list because I absolutely adore, at the end of the day, going to Gibson Girl and getting that waffle cone that's been dipped in chocolate. And then that chocolate is just rolled over broken pieces of candy canes. And then inside of it, 1 scoop, 2 scoop of peppermint ice cream. Peppermint ice cream and a candy cane cone on Main Street. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. That's my number 5.
It's instant Christmas. What you're saying is you're ingesting Christmas right into your body.
As I referred to it, it's like eating a Christmas tree.
Yeah, absolutely. Plus, I feel like the peppermint beignets are kind of an attraction of themselves, because you have to really make sure you don't get all of that powdered sugar on you, so it doesn't look like you're doing like a ton of blow.
Yes,
so you have to make sure that you are eating it very efficiently and not getting it on yourself. So it's kind of like a game or an attraction by itself.
I once was on the 3rd level of the Mark Twain. I had a bunch of friends in the park, and I said, you guys go ride Big Thunder, meet me on the Mark Twain, and I'll have a treat for you. So I went and got a couple bags of the peppermint beignets, and they're over there riding the Big Thunder. I'm up on the top deck of Twain, and I said, okay, I got like 12 of them here for everybody, but I got this little bag of 3. I'm going to eat a couple by myself before everybody comes around. I'm not talking to be a Mr. Entertainer guy. So it was actually right after a designer con, just like the trip that you're going on. So I pull one of them out. Well, I shook the bag like you're supposed to. And then as I opened the bag, all of that pink powdered sugar flew out of the bag. But because I was on a boat, it went downstream. And there's a family of 3 sitting next to me. And it just went all over them. And I was like, sorry. And like literally when they moved, you could see the silhouette of their shoes. That's how much powder sugar they got hit with. I did not feel like a citizen of Disneyland in that moment, Tony.
Yeah, it's dangerous. Like I said, man, but it's worth it. It's totally worth it. So even if something like that happens, they'll understand, because they're delicious. It's worth it.
It's worth it. Take one for the team. All right. What do you have at number 4?
Okay. This one, I have a feeling this one might pop up in yours too, just because I feel like I didn't really pick up on it until I started watching your walkthroughs.
Oh.
So my number 4 is going to be the Disneyland and DCA window displays.
Window displays. Oh, I'm going to have to bring out a judge to see, is our number 4 the same? Because I just went with decorations.
That's pretty close.
Pretty close. Because one of the things that I love about going there is just cruising around and from land to land, Christmas lights to Christmas lights, Christmas tree to Christmas tree. And as I've been pointing out on the Friday update series, how all of the decorations match the land that they're in. For example, those ornaments that had the honey all over them in Critter Country. It's like, dog, that's the details that I'm coming here for. You keep dipping. Let me tell you something, Chapstick. You keep dipping ornaments and honey, and I'll pay whatever you want me to pay. I'll make whatever reservation you need me to make.
Yeah, I mean, in general, yes, every single decoration in that place is going to get absorbed by these eyes, and I'm going to enjoy it and really take it in. But there is something about those window displays,
yes.
And I think it has to do specifically with being a kid. Like my parents would take me downtown, on the Mag Mile, and you would go all past all the giant displays for all the stores, and you would see those awesome displays that they would have, each store trying to outdo the other. Very much similar to like the opening of A Christmas Story, right, Mark?
I was just going to say that it's the beginning of Christmas Story, where that's set in what, the 50s?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
When they, it's shot in Cleveland, but it's supposed to be Indiana. When they show that downtown Cleveland and it looks like 1950s America, by the way, a lot of Disney in there too. You see Mickey Mouse, you see Snow White. But when all of that downtown area comes together, I just absolutely love it. I love 50s Christmas. Some of the best songs are from that period. Some of the more traditional decorations and traditions are from that period. Like the 50s is when Christmas really became a thing. And it stayed that way to the 60s. But if you go back and try to trace Christmas movies of the 70s, Christmas kind of like disappears for a while. And then in the 80s, it slowly starts building. It builds through the 90s. But the new millennial is when Christmas became just huge. Here for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And those window displays, I feel like they lose some magic for modern children, right? Like,
sure,
they don't recall having to like go through catalogs to pick out toys or have to physically go look at things. So I feel like that might be lost on them. But for people of a certain age, there is a magic and of that window shopping. So, and I think that's something that Disney, the Disney parks, especially on Main Street, excel at completely, 100%.
Why do you think? What is it that makes it so special when they're animated?
I think it has to do with just the like the engineering that goes into some of them. Right. It's like, it's crazy. You're like, it takes you a moment just to understand what's happening in front of you. And then there's so many other things that are going on. It's basically like a moving painting, I feel like.
Right.
Because it's like you're seeing a story unfold and all these things are moving around, and it's there's just so much that goes into it and the design of it. So it's like they built it in a way where it captures your eye, and then it takes you on the story, and you're seeing all these things happen. And it's really just like, okay, this is just one of them. There are many more that are going on besides this one. So it's just, I don't know. It's like a weird Imagineering feat where they're able to take this small story, condense it down, and give you the feels, really. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, I think it's the magic trick of it's moving, and then you take that little bit of time to figure out, okay, but how is it moving? Oh, it's that piece it's moving. It's not that one. It just had me thinking that it'd be very interesting if you were an artist and that was what you did. Like if you essentially made, these moving paintings, as you called them, or these moving illustrations, because it's just, there's something about the stacking on them too, that reminds me a lot of, help me out here, director Wes Anderson, his films where there's always, everything looks like it's cut out of paper, right? And everything looks like keep it simple, like it's a play at a school, right? Where like, we're going to cut the trees out, and then we're going to put the town there, and then we're going to put the backdrop of cloth behind us. It's that like tangible stacking of ideas, and then you add in a little bit of motion, and it's so remedial, but so like nostalgic and thought-provoking and magical. And that's one of the things I always loved about Toontown was how, not only does everything there have a swell to it, there's like every building starts at a base and goes to a roof, but it swells, it has like this nice, like bulging contour to everything. And so you have these animated buildings, but then the landscape behind it was exactly what we're talking about. It looks like it's cut out of paper, and, it's only 3 or 4 feet apart, the layers, But that really, with our eyes and the way that we use distance to make ourselves feel safe and navigate through the world, it adds a real magic trick of depth and perception. And that's why I was excited to go and show everybody, like, hey, the way that Monsters, Inc. is put together is the way that Toontown will be constructed once they get the Mickey and Minnie's massive runaway building covered. That trick will happen. So yeah, sometimes it's just like those basic, like tactile tricks that can invoke the most amount of magic.
And it doesn't even have to be as complex as a lot of the ones that I've seen. It could be something as simple as, like, I remember last year in DCA, they had that awesome Rock Candy Mountain train set.
That's there all year long.
Oh, is that there? Okay,
that's there all year long.
Yeah. So that thing's not overly complicated. It's literally just a train set that goes around a really well designed mountain, but it's great. Like, it's just very well designed, and it's super cool, and I enjoy seeing it.
That window is so phenomenal because, one, that was almost the first ever addition to Disneyland. They were going to build a rock candy mountain back where Storybook Canal boats are. And the idea is that you'd get on a boat, you'd go through it, and you would end up in the Wizard of Oz. And the storyline was Dorothy's birthday. So you'd cruise around in there. So not only is that window a clever nod to Disney's past, just like when I went into the Plaza Point Christmas shop and I found those flower baskets up on the top. I'm like, that's a shout out to Main Street when they used to have the flower cart where you could go up and buy flowers over on the West Street. But anyways, the Rock Candy Mountain, not only is it a nod to the past, but they do something so clever. The trains, last time I saw, weren't on the tracks. But when the trains come back, pay attention next time, because there's 3 different trains on there. There's a train on the bottom track, a train on the middle track, and a train on the top. Each one of those trains is a different scale. So therefore, it appears as if the train is going up the mountain. Obviously, it would get smaller and smaller if you're standing on the ground. But to have 3 different tracks with 3 different sizes of trains, and to have that all timed somewhere to where, train number 1 goes by, and then there's obviously a delay where train number 2 releases and does its track. And when it comes back around, it obviously clicks a scan that then releases the 3rd one. I mean, it's just a window display. And so few psychos like me will ever see that that's happening, but it does happen. That's, you know what? $3,000 a day, 20 reservations. I'm in. I don't care. I don't care what it means. I'm in.
Yeah, you would be down for that.
You hear me, Chapek? You can't outprice me. What do you got at number 3?
Okay. So this is where it started getting really tight and having to make those decisions of, like, all right, which is, what takes precedence over the other thing. So this is tough because I feel like it is ranked low, and I'm looking at it now and I'm like, maybe this isn't the best spot for it. But my number 3, I went with the Small World Holiday / Promenade. And I went, it's in the middle there. It's right in the middle. But let me explain something.
Interesting.
I like it a lot. I think it's fantastic. It's something you absolutely have to see. Otherwise, 100%. I would not have put it on this list. And every single time I see it for the first time, it's amazing. And the interior of the ride is fantastic. But there are 2 other things that are a little bit more important to me personally. So that's why it's where it's at. But otherwise, believe me, it's something everybody should experience, especially if you have little kids. Because they run that show every half hour, right? For the
projections go up. I believe it's every 15. It's either every what is it? Is it every 15 minutes they do that projection show on the outer exterior? That little projection show is great. When you start hearing that, when they start, cranking up the clock as a cue that it's getting ready to go off. I've brought so many people over there, not tell them that's getting ready to happen, and then just like, oh, whoa, what is this? And then at the end, when it all builds and the Christmas lights all come back on the front facade, magic.
Yeah, I know. I could visualize Jared with a tear rolling down his eye because I ranked it so low. But yeah, it's still fantastic.
Yeah, so you're Small World. You're just saying the whole Small World, the attraction, the light show, the whole caboodle. You got it at 3.
Yes.
Where does Small World as a ride rank for you?
Oh, that's up there. I would say that is easily in my top 5.
I was very surprised at how much I enjoyed Small World at Walt Disney World at Magic Kingdom, because I had ridden Small World in Paris, and they cut a lot of corners and it didn't have that same vibe to it. But I have to say, the Magic Kingdom version out east, hear my whole thought here. They improved Small World, but they didn't make it better. Okay. Like, you can't make the first time you do something better, because it's the first time. There's an instant nostalgia there. So, the Mary Blair, Rolly Crump duo of making that World's Fair, bringing it back to Disneyland, the opening ceremony, like, it's a historic ride. It's like part theme park attraction, part, museum piece. So that's always going to be on number 1. But they did do some improvements out on the East Coast, such as the last room. Speaking of Jared, who always refers to that as when all the children die and go to heaven. I love that at the end, instead of going to heaven, you go to a carnival. And I like the Ferris wheel and the merry-go-round and all of those vibes. And I also felt like the East Coast version, they do a good job of not having so many like dark spaces and black walls that just don't have anything on them.
Yeah. And there's also the fact that even though everything is indoors with that one, there does come a time in Disneyland when you're like waiting to go inside the show building. You're like, man, it's really hot. The sun's beating down on me. I gotta get off this thing. Yeah. So there are a small little, I absolutely. Plus, I think the Disney World version with the where you exit, or it swipes your magic band and you see your name magically pop up, is something that was a genius idea.
It made me cry, man. When I was rolling through in the boat and it said my name on the card, I was like, and I like looked over at the dentist. I was like, what? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, Magic Band technology. I was like, what? Like, I didn't even know how to respond to that, because it was a complete magic trick that I didn't see coming. I just have to say, I thought it's a really clever reinterpretation of the classic. Not as good, but improved in some aspects. But man, oh man, when you go through Fantasyland proper, you come around the turn there and you just see It's a Small World sitting there. That is a hell of a set piece.
Yeah, it's especially Christmas version. It's just on another level for me. So yeah, it's like I said, it's the middle of mine. I know it probably should be higher, but we'll get to that. What was your number 3?
My number 3 was the music. I love the treats. I love the decorations, but the icing on top is the music. Over in DCA, I love the winter weather. I like the two of us together. I love how over in DCA, they have that roaring 20s, 30s type music. And, like everybody has a gravelly voice and you can't tell if somebody's a really old man or a really smoky woman. I love the music that they have over there. Over by the Paradise Gardens, I love all the Latino celebrations that they have happening over there. I just love, it's just like you get into a party zone over there. Then over at Radiator Springs, the soundtrack is that 50s kind of inspired Christmas. They've got all the decorations up. It's great. Monsters After Cookies Go Out After Dark. Fantastic song inside the Galaxy's Guardians. And then over on Main Street, you have that classic instrumental music. Over in Critter Country by Pooh's, Winnie the Pooh's attraction, they play this really good, heartfelt country Christmas loop. I love the jazz Christmas in New Orleans Square. I mean, the Christmas music in every land is awesome. And then in Galaxy's Edge, when they do the Christmas flyover and you hear, you're like, wow, yeah, just like Santa Claus came through here.
Yeah, it's funny that you mention how many different Christmas song iterations are going on in that place. every time of the day. And it's pretty impressive because honestly, like they could just play the same Christmas songs you hear all year round. My personally, my favorite Christmas song is it's the holiday season. So
Yeah.
Just that, like that old, but like hearing it in Disneyland makes me that much more emotional and excited because it feels like this weird Christmas morning type feeling that I get where I don't get that when I listen to it on the radio or when I have it on just in the house. But being there in the park and hearing that song just really like kicks it into overdrive for me. So
yeah, there's a couple in the Main Street background loop that just really get me. They just like drive it home. And music is the soundtrack to our lives. So you have this beautiful landscape around you, and then that music just invokes, is it a really happy moment? Is it a really sad moment? Like the music is the pulling of the heartstrings inside the park. And I mean, that's two reasons why I use a lot of music in my vlog series. One is to make sure I don't get demonetized because I spend a lot of time filming them and editing them, and I would like to make whatever little bit of ad money that I can. So that's the first reason. But I also use my own soundtrack because it allows me to edit the videos at a more aggressive pace. And it allows me to tell a better story because I'm setting the mood with song and with narration. It's not for everybody. It seems like generally most people like it instead of hating it. But I use the music in my vlog series to really like bring home the story and the message in these like little movies I'm trying to shoot inside of Disneyland. And so I, as a guy from the music industry, I understand that magic trick. That's why I have it at number 3. Tony, what do you have for your deuce?
Okay. My number 2 is going to be the Haunted Mansion holiday. Oh. Now, I'm kind of, I'm a little bit of a hypocrite on this one because usually I'm the one crying foul, like around Halloween where I'm like, I go on it and I'm like, no, man, it should be, give me the regular version during Halloween. I need to see the regular ghosts. Like, I don't need to see Jack Skellington this early. But that being said, once November rolls around, I am more than ready for the holiday aspect of it. So I'm always excited to see, whatever the gingerbread house is for the year. All the decorations and everything that go into it are top notch. And I've always really had an admiration for it. And I like that, it's very Disneyland specific and something that like you have to go to Disneyland to go and check out and enjoy. So it's great. I'm Haunted Mansion is my favorite attraction, period. But so Haunted Holiday is just that extra bonus every year of like, hey, we did something a little different, switch things up a little bit. And it's great. But yeah, that being said, like I wish, obviously I know how much time and effort goes into, getting it ready. I understand why they do it so early in advance, but like if it was up to me, there was a switch they could just flip on, November, December, and maybe into January and then be done. That would be it for me. But that being said, it's fantastic, and there's a reason why the wait times are always insanely high for this thing because it's that good.
Yeah, this is the difference between local and traveler to the Disneyland Resort, which is I'm glad that I have your perspective because typically by the time the holidays come around, I've already cruised it 2 or 3 times, and so to me, because it shows up in September, to me it is a fall tradition. Now, don't get me wrong, Merriest Nites, if there's a short line, I'm going to be ripping some Haunted Mansion, and I'll feel value of my tickets purchased by doing so. To me, it skews more Halloween than Christmas, although I do love that every year the first person to wish me a Merry Christmas or a Happy Holiday is Jack Skellington, which is a pretty interesting thing because he does it before anybody else in September. So for me, it's not even in my top 5 list because at number 2, if I'm looking at this year, I put Merriest Nites at number 2 just because I'm just excited. I'm excited to see what's new. My anticipations are that there will be some experience that I'll have through Merriest Nites that I've never had before. And, my trip out to Walt Disney World and my trip to Paris was all about discovering new Disneyland and discovering new Disney parks. So I'm hoping that, the Muppets are our Christmas carolers on Main Street. Awesome. I hope that I've read the tea leaves right, and there is going to be a Christmas jazz cruise on the Mark Twain, that they'll have a band out there playing carols, but in a jazz influence. That's part of the New Orleans Square celebration. So for me, Merriest Nites is something I bought the tickets. I'm like, well, I'll just do it because I do all this stuff for the channel. But as it's gotten closer, I've gotten very excited, and I'm happy that I'm holding so many tickets, and also excited that, I have a date night with my wife and some friends going. So Merriest Nites is number 2 for me this year.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I think, I was the same way, where I bought the ticket, not really thinking too much about it. And then obviously now this is in a few days, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm flying out to Anaheim, awesome. And I'm going to this thing. I'm not just going to be sitting on the sidelines watching Mark, live stream and, hanging out with all of our club buds. So yeah, the closer and closer I get to it, I'm like, it still hasn't really clicked in my head yet that I'm going, but I am going, and I am very excited. And just to be in there during Christmas time and everything, it's going to be awesome. So, but that's a solid choice.
Yeah. So what do you have for your numero uno?
Okay. I think I had to think really long and hard about this, because obviously this is...
Hold on. Can I guess?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So you have treats, you have decorations, you already have Haunted Mansion and Small World on there. Dude, what? Why did I say I wanted to guess this? I can't even figure out what's missing. You could probably guess mine, right?
Oh, no. Wait, you go first then, because I feel like mine's pretty good, and I feel like mine will be similar, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, no.
So
mine. No? You already listed my number 1. It's a Small World's my favorite.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. That's right. You did say that. Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't say anything when you had it at 3. It's my number 1 because it is my favorite Southern California Christmas tradition. I mean, outside, going to Disneyland is a thing, but when I get in there, Small World Holiday is my favorite thing. Didn't happen last year. I was honored to go to Rolly Crump's house and interview him about his career and talk to him about that attraction, which gives me, makes me feel close to it, and having met, one of the masterminds that worked on it. I love it. It symbolizes everything I love about the holiday. Like, it's going inside of those store windows that you talked about earlier. Like, it feels like you're inside of, those Macy's windows, for lack of a better term. I love that it's the first time every year that we get to see the new year written out. There's that marquee by the moon that will say 2022, and that'll be the first time I'll see it in writing, and it makes it feel more real that I've lived to see another year. It's just a masterful idea of, let's take something we already have, let's make it more special, which I think really embodies what the holidays mean. I love outside that every strand of lights has one white light that blinks, which makes it twinkle, right? So you have a line of blue lights, but you take one out, you put a white one in there that blinks, and all of them all over the facade. So when you come around the corner, it does twinkle. The projection show's fantastic. Also, you'll find the greatest wreaths in the park. The wreaths that they put on the different lighting rigs for the parade route. You picked the parade. That's what it was. Parade?
Nope.
Damn. Those wreaths through there are really, really fantastic. All combined, it's a Small World holiday. I can't wait to get back, baby.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, that being your number 1. That makes total sense.
All right, what would yours be? Would it be, is it Cars Land?
No, I like Cars Land, but no.
And it's not the parade. You're not a music guy.
Do you want a hint?
Yeah.
It's all about vibes.
Oh, do tell.
Okay. Tony Mendez is number 1 Disneyland top 5 Christmas presents.
Is it a Christmas bench?
No, it's close. You're getting there. It is the Christmas Disneyland shutdown.
Oh,
because Mark, as you have taught me, you were the one, you were the Jedi that taught me that if you're going to shut down anything in Disneyland, it had better be Christmas Disneyland, because you get Main Street. The most, honestly, if I'm being serious, I think Christmas Disneyland Main Street might be the most magical version, the most magical iteration of Main Street you'll come across, because the music is going. It gets really quiet when the park empties out. You have it to yourself, or if you're lucky with your buds, you're having this amazing time that this is the end of the year. You're with friends and you're with family, and so all these things come together. A perfect evening. You've done all the attractions. You've walked around. You've hung out. You've eaten well, and then you just have this cherry on top, which is you wait out the crowds. You wait out the fireworks. And you just have this quiet moment where you can kind of reflect on the day. And then you get to have that beautiful Christmas tree to yourselves. And maybe you rip a sick pic. Maybe you just take it all in. Maybe you sit on that bench. But you have lived another year and you are enjoying Christmas with the ones that you love. And Main Street is the place to do it. So, number one, shutting down Disneyland at Christmas time. Hands down.
This is when the apprentice becomes the master, because you have nailed it. To me, in all fairness, it's just a default setting. I'm not going out until they tell me I have to leave during the holidays. But I think the reason why Disneyland Christmas is so special is because we've watched Christmas, especially with our ages, we line up with this resurgence of holiday entertainment. You see it packaged so perfectly in the movies that life can sometimes be disappointing because it's not as perfect as we've seen it. But the first time I went to Disneyland during the holidays, I was like, oh, this is Christmas holiday perfection. Like, they have nailed everything that my anticipations and my emotions manifest the holiday season. And the best way I could explain it to somebody who's never been there and was like, should I go? I'm like, if you've ever wanted to go into that little village at the bottom of your Christmas tree, that's what Disneyland is every November and December when it's open.
Yeah, there's something magical that happens in that quiet moment where, everything kind of lets up and it's just you and Main Street. And it's, for me, I use it to reflect. And it's weird because you're either staring towards the train station or you're staring down at the castle, one or the other. And the streets, either empty or almost empty. And it's just like all these things that go through your head. Where you think about, people that might not be with you anymore.
Right.
But it's like you have all these memories that come flooding in because of that quiet stillness, but there's still that music in the background. And it's just quiet enough where you can still hear it, but it's in the back of your head. And it's like you can just, you're more thinking about everything else and then just kind of letting your emotions overtake you in that moment. So it's like, for me, it's very magical. And believe me, it's having that picture of yourself, with Christmas Disneyland all to yourself it's totally worth it every single time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my number one. There's one thing I absolutely have to do at Christmas at Disneyland, it's shut it down and have that moment to myself where I can reflect and, think about the year. So there it is.
It is good, man. It really takes this holiday that can be confusing and overwhelming. And, if Christmas is like everything else, and actually same for Disneyland, if you let it overwhelm you and stress you, if you focus on how much it costs or missing work, it's like you get out of this world what you put into it, what you take away from it. And I know the last couple of weeks we've, been a little bit more critical and studied things, which I'm never going to stop doing that because That's how I think you fully learn to appreciate things. And, if you love something, you should study it from all angles. But when you let that part of your brain go, shh, it's Christmas, baby. Let's not worry about Bobby Chapstick and the prices. The only reservation you have is with a candy cane on Main Street. It's like when you get yourself into that mindset where you just say, okay, it's the end of the year, man. Nothing else matters. I've made it. We had a rough year last year. Not everybody's with us that we wish was. That music's playing. Man, I'm fired up.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but this is officially the first year with Club 1313 present during Christmas Disneyland, right?
It is. And correct me if I'm wrong, but if I was the last person to leave Christmas at Disneyland in January of 2020, am I not the last person on earth that has experienced Christmas at Disneyland? And therefore, my King of Christmas title goes back out on the line for this holiday season. And I will have to be the final person to leave Christmas this January to keep my title as the King of Christmas.
You got a belt to hold on to, brother.
Hey, man. I'm like those wrestlers when they come down and they're wearing a strap and then they got one over their shoulder. I got the champion around my waist and then I got King of Christmas on my shoulder. Tony, it's an embarrassment of riches. Friends, I hope you enjoyed our countdown to Christmas as we look forward to the holiday season. Change the tone over here on the podcast this week. This is what you should expect. We're going to be doing current events. We're going to be doing happy things, bad things. I'm going to be doing interviews, and sometimes Tony will be missing, but we'll come back to wrap it all up for members of Club 1313. If you enjoyed this week's podcast, let us know in the comments below. Consider subscribing to the channel, and I appreciate everybody being here, even the lunatics. Tony, what do you say? Let's do some bonus content for all of our friends over at club1313.com.
You got it. Let's do it.
Let's do it.